Subscribe now and press the bell icon. Never miss an update.
I would like to thank all of you for being here, for taking the time, and not only the international visitors, but also people who have traveled, they told me, from all over India to be here, so thank you very much. So what I'm going to try to do today, I'm going to present you the prisoners' experiences in the autonomous therapeutic communities in Greece, operating in Greece, in Thessaloniki, the city where I come from, and the daycare program that operates in Athens, in the capital of Greece, that is also a therapeutic community but does not operate as a 24-hour TC but as a 9-to-5 TC. So instead of using a lot of data and tiring you, what I thought would be best was to actually tell you the words that the people who live in the TCs say about the program, and because obviously they live in the TC, they know better, and they can give us all the information we need in order to maybe convince other people that this is the way to go. About the legal system in Europe, as you can see, there are alternatives to imprisonment that are offered within the European Union. It differs from country to country. In Greece, use the next slide, I'm not going to bore you with all that. All you need to remember is that there are alternatives to imprisonment. In Greece, the legal system, the new law, gives to the prisoners, to people who have involvement with the criminal justice system, it gives them the opportunity to exchange their imprisonment, their incarceration, with treatment. And that goes for the offences that are not they're not facilitating or are related to drugs. So if a crime is so serious that someone cannot go to a therapeutic community outside the prison system, then they can actually alter their imprisonment within the prison. So they can exchange their imprisonment with treatment even if they are already in jail. And this is the organization. Actually, I have to tell you something. I work in prevention. I don't work in treatment for the past 15 years. So this whole research was done for my master's degree. So I'm the outside eye, the eye that works in prevention, that got into treatment because I thought it was really very interesting and also very important to do such a research within the prisons. So I joined KETHEA. KETHEA let me go in the prisons and actually speak to the members of their TCs, so that today I can present this. So KETHEA is a TC operating. I'm not going to bore you, to tell you and bore you again with the program they follow. You can see the only thing I have to tell you is that even within the prison, the program is a dry program. There are no substitutes. So there is two prisons, there's two therapeutic communities within the prison. The one is, as I told you, in Thessaloniki, in the northern Greece, and this is the 24-hour TC. In both prisons there are no hierarchical system, and it operates since 2008. So there's actually a place within the prison that is separated from the general prison, and the people within the TC have no contact with the people within the general prison. Whereas in the other program in Athens, in Korydallos prison, which is a daycare program that operates from 9 to 5, people actually live in the general prison. They leave the general prison and go to the TC from 9 to 5, and then after 5 o'clock they return to the general prison. So they do have contact with the general population within the prison system. I've told you about the aim of the research. The participants were 35 adult males that were members of both the TC programs, and their sentences were from 1 year to life sentence. And they had multiple crimes committed from crimes that were drug-related to crimes that were not drug-related. There was a semi-structured interview just to make sure that we collected the same data, and it was based on the Nylander et al. Paper. There was an actual similar research that was done in the Nordic countries. And we used the IPA, the Interpretive Phenomenological Analysis, to analyze the data and to categorize everything. Okay, so to the results. Most of them obviously said that there was drug use in prison. So I'm going to read out the actual words that the prisoners said to me, okay? Okay. I came out sick from using. I started shooting in prison. I went deep. I had no limit. In prison, all I did was using. You know, you come here as a goat and you turn into a wolf in order to survive this chaos. The prisoners within the system, they had, obviously sometimes they had contact with other programs before they entered prison in order for them to get treatment. But there are many programs. It was not only dry programs, it was substitute programs as well. So most of them did have contact with other programs. When I was out, I went to Okana. Okana is an organization, is the organization against drugs, and it gives out substitutes. So when I was out, I went to Okana to stop with buprenorphine. I managed to get the minimum, but I was still a junkie. I did not stop the behaviors. So whenever they went into the prison system, what they told us was that the minute they get in, they need to know everything that there is to know, all the information they need in order to somehow find ways to escape the prison, the actual prison. And the information they get mostly are from other inmates that have already been in there or have been in the jail multiple times, so they know how it goes. So, and what they felt was that if they didn't join the therapeutic program, then without KETHEA, I would be a slave of using in a cold world without emotions, without love, without interest, without a family. That is, if I was still alive. When you're next door meaning to the general prison, you will use for sure. I had my heroin and I let it go in order to come here. Without the here, I would have had the heroin. So a very important aspect of them joining the program is the motive. And what is very, very interesting is that their motivation is very practical at the beginning. They want to, the motivation is for them to minimize their sentence and do anything to get out of prison. But whenever they join the TC, and I see some heads nodding, so that means that it's everywhere. Huh? Okay. So the motive changes, and that is obviously due to the therapeutic stuff, then the work the therapeutic staff is doing, which is amazing. So the motive changes and it becomes something else, something internal. And in their words, in the beginning, my motive was to break the life sentence by obtaining the paper. The paper is a piece of paper they get that they're actually joining a TC program, and with that paper they can go to the court, and the court may or may not take it under consideration in order to reduce their sentence. So their first motive is the paper. I joined just for fun. And then the shift of this motivation, the change of the motive is now it's not about the paper. It's about the care and the warmth. Here it is no prison. I know I have lived in a prison. Here I feel all the empty holes in my soul. The talks here are different, not like prison talks. I experience respect. Not prison respect, another kind of respect. You know, at the beginning, we were talking nonsense, just for fun. But they, the therapists, they kept boundaries. I feel that now I can take care of myself. And obviously, when you have a motive, you start, it's a very difficult process, it's a very difficult environment, very structured environment, so you need something to keep that motivation going. And apart from the community, and apart from the staff, there are other things that motivate them. And obviously, also they had goals for the future, and to me it was a shock that some of the goals were not like long-term goals, but they were actual goals that us maybe have it in our everyday lives, like drink out of a glass cup or use like proper cutlery, like a knife and a fork, walk in the grass outside in the forest without using shoes, barefoot, just to feel the nature. And these were all goals that were like short-term goals, but very goals from people that haven't experienced this. And obviously change is something very difficult, okay? We have the motive, we keep our motive, we have a motive that will carry us on, but obviously change is difficult, and resistance to change is a very normal stage within the change process. Because of that, some of them had to leave comforts, like in the Athenian prison there is Section A. Section A is the section where all Greeks go, and it's a very well-cared section, and then there are other sections where other people from other nationalities go, or poor Greeks. So in order for them to join the TC, they had to leave Section A, the good one, the posh one, and they had to go to other sections where it was very dirty, and they didn't have what they had in Section A, so it was a very difficult thing for them to leave the luxury and go to low-quality imprisonment in order to join the TC. And there was this clash between them two, because, and this was their difficulty in the people who were joining the 24-hour, the daycare program. It was difficult for them to keep the dual role. Like, there are certain things done within the community that have a symbolism, like keeping clean, taking care of the self, respect the environment you live in. And then they had that from 9 to 5 in the TC, and then they had to change environments and go to the general prison where none of that is kept, where there is no self-dignity and there is no dignity in general, and there are like lots of people in a cell, and overnumbered everybody. So it was a clash within them, that they had to leave the TC and then have another role, the one of the inmate and the one of the person in therapy. And one of the most difficult things they had to experience was that within the prison they were considered moles. So they were the people that got away, they were the people that escaped, and all the other prisoners were trying to draw them back into using, because they were the moles, they were the ones that would tell other people and that they were the scapegoats. So it was also very difficult for them, but it was also very dangerous for them. The difficulties in the 24-hour TC, though, were different, and the difference was that people didn't have the problems. They didn't have a dual road. They were just people in therapy. So their difficulty was with sharing, with actually changing the behaviors that come with use, come with being an addict. So it was sharing, it was trusting, it was working in a community. These were the difficulties that they experienced, and the actual community tried to help them change and open. But it had nothing to do with use. It had to do with the difficulties of self-evolvement. There's an aftercare program that they can go to, and then they can get help with finding a job. So the continuance of care that was largely said here is very important and has effect on their obtaining their status. So they were going to the program and they were getting help in order to reintegrate into the society. So if we can say something, just to conclude, and I will present the next presenters, is that, and it's a convincing process now, that we spend millions and millions of funds in incarcerating people and in keeping huge, large prisons in action. So instead, if people use the legal system, they go in and they never go back to the legal system, then that saves millions and millions of rupees, euros, dollars, any currency. So maybe we could invest into making more TCs within the prisons, into giving people the dignity they didn't experience from the society when they were grown up. And maybe we will have better outcomes. Well, I'm sure we will have better outcomes in terms of not only financially, but also in people-centered approaches. So thank you very much.